Yeah.
Oh,
well, we had.
speaking of grotesque physical deformities, I injected saline into my scrotum on the show last week. I highly recommend it. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. If you've ever thought about injecting saline into your
Not even
balls,
once. No.
a good pint's worth. Highly recommend it. It was painful for a bit while it was happening, but I had the time of my life for like 2 days walking around with what was essentially a small gourd between my legs.
What?
Wait, did you use like
Google
did you put a
again.
needle
No, this
in
one's
there?
Bing.
No, it was this. Do you remember when this dude who was in a muscle pup harem of guys who would inflate their balls with silicone died?
We talked about this exact thing on the show. Yep.
Okay, I talked
Sounds
about
like
it
a
on my
PKA
show.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it on my show, and a guy who does it, a guy who injected his balls with silicone just for the look of it, was listening and called in, and was threatening to give us the saline treatment, which is temporary and a lot safer than injecting free silicone into your balls. A year later, he happens to be in LA, and I'm like, well, I mean, fuck it, man. I said I would do it on the show when you call in. Do it. Come on in. Bring your medical supplies. Strap a saline bag to the wall behind me, and let it rip.
So
on.
Wait, so you actually injected your nutsack with saline? So what happens?
Yeah.
Does it just fill like a balloon and your nuts get lost?
let me
inside?
jump in right there. If you go to Bing, audience, and do an image search on saline scrotum inflating, you'll see hundreds of inflated scrotums. And to be honest, it's not a bad look. Like it. All these scrotums are now a little bit bigger, but the wrinkles are gone. I just sort of noticed everyone shaving them, but it almost looks like a boob. It
feels like a boob. Like I couldn't stop playing with it. It was like a giant. Like I would claw it day, and when anyone wasn't looking, you just go like, "Huh, that thing's got some real heft to it."
How long did this last for until it goes away or whatever?
It lasted. Let's see. The process started at about noon, and after they get pumped up, I think I only did 100 cc's because the pain was beyond description. Like it felt like, I guess if you do it yourself at home, you can find a spot where it's not painful, but if you let another guy do it, which I was doing, they can't really tell where it hurts. So I got the worst version of the injection, but I did 100 cc's, and then that's when the swelling starts. Like at the time, I had a bunch of artists in here drawing sketches, real life sketches of it, because I didn't want to take pictures of my balls and put them on the internet. You get a good 2 or 3 times increase at the time, but then over like 4 hours, it soaks into all the tissue, and the tissue inflames around it. Like your actual balls swell in the sack. By like 8 o'clock, I had a fucking like a huge mango, like a mango that would be wrapped in that white webbing stuff. Yeah. Like it was that size. It wasn't just a mango that you throw in a bag with other mangoes. It's a mango that has a protective layer. That lasted all night. It lasted into the next day. The day after that, they were mostly deflated. I had to do Pilates on Monday, and it was when I sat down, I would have to kind of excavate it out of there and put it between my thighs, or else it'd be uncomfortable. It lasted for about 2 days. And then it was sloshy for like no bullshit. It felt like my nuts had been to a day spa. It was nice and sloshy. They felt more slippery, like the sack. It felt like a brand new sack in there. Yeah, it was great. Lasted for a couple days. It kind of eased me back into to real life.
It kind of sounds like fun, man.
I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it.
Did you fuck with your giant balls?
Oh God, yes. My girlfriend, and I will say this: all women love them. They cannot stop talking about them. They're tripping over themselves to not ask for pictures of it. I've never had that much interest from the opposite sex than when I filled my balls up with saline.
That is
Which doesn't say much,
so
but
fucking funny.
My audience has heard a
Try
lot
it.
of this before, but I had a testicular torsion when I was 15. It didn't.
Oh,
And so
I was afraid of that.
your testicle spins inside your scrotum, and it kind of
twist the.
the vas deferens, I think, it gets tightened and it doesn't get the blood supply. Big thing. Anyway, so they rushed me to the hospital. They untwisted it. Everything was cool, and I had to put like gauze under my ball sack for like 2 weeks, and I also had to wear loose clothes. So I'm like back in high school, and it's not that it made your dick bigger. It's just that the gauze kind of put it on a pedestal. Like it took your junk, and now it's being presented on a shelf. And
It's like a push-up bra for your dick. Right?
Thank you. It's like a push-up bra for your dick. And I'm not wearing jeans or anything tight like that. I'm wearing sweatpants. So
man.
I just got sweatpants and a push-up bra for my dick, strutting around the hallways of Ocean City High. It was a good time.
Man, if it weren't for the horrific first part of that story, then it might seem worthwhile. But I like my testicles staying right and left. Just basic bitch, my balls. I don't even want to put saline in them, even though
No,
the way
you
you
do.
described it does sound.
I know you do. You're lying.
It
Who
seems
wouldn't wanna do
painful.
that?
How do you know how far to put the needle in?
I don't know. I just let the guy do it. It was in way further than I thought it would be.
Oh god.
I just kind of thought it would be like I imagined. Okay, I could feel my own scrotum skin. It's not that thick, like just half of that. And once you pop it in, you just pump it in. But this guy was just like going and going and going. Like, oh man, dude, it's gonna come out the other side if you keep pushing it in like that.
Oh man, why? That is.
And then it starts
that's the most-
dripping, and you
Oh.
know that's like the pressure. You can watch it just start drip, 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 like going faster and faster.
I feel like an idiot, but I always sort of thought there was kind of a wall in the middle, right? No,
There's not.
It's
Oh,
just
keeping
me.
them
A
separated or
wall and-
whatever?
Yeah.
No, they're pretty well behaved. They stay in their own area. They don't need a wall.
Generally, yeah. I never thought there was a wall in my nutsack.
Well, wait, you might think there's one. I might be revealing way more about myself than I mean to, but like, because doesn't it look like it's like kind of stitched up in the middle?
Yeah.
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 So it looks like you could think that maybe they're like two halves and there's like a guy in the middle that kind of keeps them separated. But
Yeah.
Right. A little traffic flow. And so mine are stitched in place so that they can't move around and I can't have a repeat injury. So, like, I don't know, maybe normal balls, you could even put the right one on the left side and prove that there's no wall, but that's not something I'm capable of doing.
I've said it on the show, even recently, that like when I was like 10, I thought the balls were just free floating down there, and so I like crossed them once and was
Oh,
like,
right.
"That's neat." And then I tried to cross them again to put
oh,
them
not
back
neat.
in their original place,
Hmm.
and the pain was so sudden, so sharp, and like that I was like, "Okay, well,